stuff. Rain is good. And I've learned that nice little lesson myself. Now, you know, if you know me, I'm not one for heavy yard work unless I got to get out there. But I don't have what we call a green thumb. Somebody gave me this plant not too long ago, and it just didn't make it through. But I share that with you because on yesterday, the day before that, I went out to my front yard and I thought I found a pot of gold outside, and I realized, no, it wasn't gold, it was just a sign that my grass was dying. So, I thought I struck it rich, but I decided maybe it's time that I actually go ahead and cut it and nurture it and get the proper maintenance tools to take care of that. So I was able to do that on yesterday, a couple of days ago, cut the grass, and pretty big about putting the water sprinklers on now, and I'm just thankful for the rain today. So no one else here is thankful. Brother over here is thankful because that's going to saturate that pot of gold and hopefully get green again. So we'll have to dig it up and put something in place of it. But God is definitely good. Glad to be here with you this morning. Well, I ask too that please keep my wife in your prayers as well. She not feeling too well this morning. She feels like she's coming down with something. So she's resting a bit today, and Lord willing, she'll be with us during the 5 p.m. service. But if you don't know my wife, she's in graduate school right now. And the work, I have to say, she's in a summer intensive program. So the work that she's doing within just one summer is really about 1.5 years worth of material. It really is a lot. And I give an example. One of the professors on last week said, you know, just go over these 500 pages by next Thursday, and you should be in good shape for the test. And I would say, I'm like, you know, no, that's an exaggeration. 500 pages. He said, no, Monty. My professor said 500 pages, and I said, well, where's the punchline? Where was the joke? And she looked at me and she said, there was no joke. 500 pages. So with one of our guest room that we had, she just fully occupied that room during the day, and we call that the lab. And she's been staying up some late nights, so just pray for her and pray for me too. I may have to carry her to bed sometimes, and sometimes I'll walk in and she's in the lab, head down, just knocked out from all the work that she's doing. It's kind of wearing her out a little bit, but we'll try to maintain that balance and hopefully give her some rest too, and break her free from the babies too, so that she can just recover. But I will say, you know, being home over the summer so far, I've had my first week out, summer break, and I can recall when I wasn't mature, I would call some of my buddies, my first couple of years of teaching, I called them over the summer just to let them know, in case they forgot, that I was out. I don't have to go to work in the morning, but I hope that you have a blessed day. I hope you just work hard and do a nice job. If you need me, just call my cell phone out. I'll probably be laying in bed, or I may be out on the couch, maybe outside, you know, doing a little bit, but you know, have a good day. So, since I've matured, I haven't been doing that, but I have been home over the weekend, and it's been really nice to spend time with my children, to have that time with Monty and Malia. We've been doing, I've been calling it Daddy Daycare. We've been doing really cool things, and I have to, as the teacher in me, I've been putting lesson plans together for the kids. And so I have some structure. We do music time, we have some educational programming, we do some field trips, we go to different places. It was nice, took the kids just to the mall, just to do some walking, and also I learned that, you know, run your kids to the mall, that helps them go to bed quicker. It's good nap time. My little girl, Malia, we walked about halfway through the mall, and she was saying, you know, Daddy, pick me up, pick me up. I said, no, we got a couple more ways to go. We'll loop around. And, you know, it was nice and sleep by the time we got in the car. Slept well. And I also got a chance to take them to the museum, the State Museum, to look at different art, just expose them to some things. And I have to say, my daughter, very much like me, just all about the arts, you know, want to go inside, look at the different statues, the different paintings. My son, Monty, just had zero interest. Continue asking, you know, Daddy, go bye-bye, we're going bye-bye. And so I said, well, you know, I'm going to make this an educational moment. And Sister Williams knows what I'm talking about, a teachable moment. So I said, well, son, if you can find the elevators for us, we'll slowly make our way on out. So I put him to work. And as we're going through looking at different exhibits, he's just trying to look around every corner and crevice to see where the elevator was. And he found it. He found 4 elevators. Little did he know, though, I said, push that button right there, which was the up button. So he push it, we get on the elevator, we go up to floor number 2. We went up to all 4 floors, and finally, he found the elevator on the 4th floor, and then we made our way on down and went home. Every moment I try to make a teachable moment for them. But thank you for your prayers as well. Just as we continue to transition, you've been working to maintain a nice, healthy balance. We do appreciate that and your words of encouragement and support too. But it's also keeping our leadership in prayer, especially Sister Hubbard is there away. They may have safe travels and come back safely as well. Yeah. Right. So we're going to get into our lesson this morning, but I do have to ask you, raise your hand if you have good fashion sense. Raise your hand if you think you have good fashion sense. I'm not seeing too many brothers. I see a lot of the ladies, so they're very good. Very good. A couple of brothers going like this and looking at their wife. Good, because I used to think that I did one time, and then when I met my beautiful wife, she's helped me to understand that you just can't mix certain colors together out in public. So that's all great, but some of you can maybe recall times when you put on clothes and you looked at yourself in the mirror and it just, it looked good. Then you went out in public. You maybe got a little self-conscious. Anybody know what I'm talking about? You went out a little bit. Maybe some more of the brothers kind of felt this, but you went out and you just started wondering, do I have the right apparel on today? Or maybe if you've gone to certain functions and you were told that you could dress a certain way, but maybe you went to a formal, like a banquet, and you came in maybe with some jeans and some sandals. Or maybe you've seen people like that coming in, not quite dressing for the particular occasion. I definitely was guilty of that. I've watched the show Matlock, my wife and I. Kind of have old souls. We enjoy those programmings, and I always thought Matlock dressed well. He had that light blue, the baby blue with them black shoes. And I said, that works. My wife would say, no, that really doesn't work. That really doesn't work. But again, I recall times I've been in school, and I put something on, and I just thought it was wonderful. I mean, this is great. And then I get out and about, and I realize, no, I made a poor decision. The socks ain't matching right, the belt's not matching, or I shouldn't have worn that purple tie with this red suit. It just didn't look right, but at the time, it felt good. So I share all that to say that we're actually going to parallel that idea today as we look at Colossians. All of us, to some point or another, we think extensively about what we put on each day in the physical sense. But today we also want to discover and really think about what it is that we're putting on every day in the spiritual sense. So with that, I want to ask you if you would look at someone next to you and ask them, what are you wearing today? What are you wearing today? And I don't mean in the physical. Please go with me to Colossians chapter 3. And we're going to cover verses 12 through 17. And as you're going there, I will say, what I love about the Bible, what I love about God and just how He has created the church and established the church for us, is that we as Christians, we have an opportunity to show what we're made of. We have an opportunity to show who we belong to. We have an opportunity to show what structure looks like, even in a world that doesn't have much structure. In other words, we live in this world, but we understand we're set apart from this world at the same time. We are not Christians that go run and hide in the corner just because the world around us is falling apart. I'll give you some examples. A real quick history lesson. There were several types of Jewish sects, especially during the Old Testament period, that figured, we have our own little sect, our own group, and if you're not in the group, you're not with us. And if you're not with us, then you're wrong. And so we're going to take our small little group over here, and we're going to do what we do. We call some of those folks the Pharisees, actually was being separated from. We call some of them the Sadducees. We call some of them actually the Herodians or Hasmoneans, but there's one group in particular who physically relocated because they felt everybody else is doing it wrong. I don't like the choices that are being made in our government. I don't like the political choices that are taking place. Religiously, people ain't doing things the way we think it ought to be done. And so these people actually packed up and went into a different region. The area is called Qumran. It's in the Middle East. And so they live there. And what happens when you start to separate yourself and you form your own little niche? You live together, you grow old together, and you die together. And no one really knows that you were here or not. And I share that because these are examples of people who, instead of living in the world and working through the conditions that were brought to them, they try to run away from it. And even sometimes today, Christians can be guilty of separating themselves to the extent that you're all in your own little corner. You ain't reached out to anybody. You haven't brought anybody any closer to Christ. I'm in my corner. I'm right. I'm a Christian. I die and I'm gone. And you don't even know what I did or why I was here or what type of purpose I was trying to meet. So as Paul is writing this letter to the Colossians, or to those in Colossae, he's emphasizing the idea that, yes, even though you live in a world that's unstructured, in a world that's really tearing itself apart, even at this particular point in time, you're living in a world of persecution, you still can fight the good fight. In other words, you still can be a Christian and be a model for how things ought to be done according to God's standard. You don't have to run from anybody. You be what God has called you to be. So he says in verse 12, he says, therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved. Key word here being elect. It's very important for Christians to understand, or the non-Christian to understand, that God has elected us. God chooses or elects or selects those to come forth and be a part of his body. Now, his ultimate will is that all mankind be united and be called forth. But God elects you into your calling. This is not a man-made type of thing. In other words, no man or woman can tell you whether you can be a Christian or whether you can't be a Christian. You are elected by God, not by mankind. Now, we have all kinds of different things that mankind today can elect you in. In politics, you are elected, you're chosen by the people. The people don't vote you into the church. You don't join the church. You're actually added into the body of Christ. And that's on God's behalf because he has elected, he's called you forth. So, for some, it's not a coincidence that you're here with us this morning. This is an opportunity for you to experience God's calling or his electing of you if you're willing and able to be open to his word and to submit. I will share too, you can join clubs. You can join the YMCA. But if you don't pay them, they'll cut that membership off. When I used to play basketball, or used to try to play, you'd have team captains, and then they would pick certain people. And sometimes those can be biased. You never wanted to be the last person picked. It was always great to be the first person picked because, you thought you were the stuff then because you picked me first. And I loved it how people would just pick me because I was tall and just looked like I could play. And oh, how I showed them about halfway through the game. The team captain looking at me like, why'd I pick you? But mankind is flawed, and that we don't have the full perception that we think we sometimes have. And I'm here to say, God elects you into the church. Mankind does not call you and tell you whether you can or cannot be added into the body of Christ. So that's very important to understand. So again, back into the text. Therefore, as the elect of God, because you are the elect of God, you are called to be holy. What does that mean to be holy? In other words, you're called to be consecrated, which means you are set apart. The best analogy I can give of this is if a man and a woman are to be married, that man has consecrated himself to his wife only. In other words, once I'm married, off limits to the other women. And in turn, the wife has said the same exact thing. She is consecrated to her husband. No other men are off limits.